Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like all eyes were on you? Maybe you tripped over your own feet, spilled coffee on your shirt, or showed up wearing something you thought was cool, only to second-guess yourself the second you stepped inside. Suddenly, your brain starts racing. Are they laughing at me? Do I look stupid? Why is everyone staring? Here's the truth, they probably aren't. In fact, most people aren't paying nearly as much attention to you as you think. That overwhelming feeling of being watched, judged, or scrutinized? It's called the spotlight effect, and it's one of the biggest tricks your brain plays on you. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I went to a party wearing a new outfit, something a little outside my usual style. I felt good at first, but the second I walked in, I noticed a few people glance my way, and my confidence crumbled. I spent the whole night tugging at my sleeves, adjusting my collar, convinced everyone was silently judging my fashion choices. The next day, I asked a friend, "Okay, be honest, was my outfit that bad?" She blinked at me and said, "Wait, what were you wearing?" That's when it hit me. I'd spent hours agonizing over something nobody even remembered. That's the spotlight effect in action. So why does this happen? Why do we constantly overestimate how much others notice about us? And more importantly, how do we stop it from stealing our confidence? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind the spotlight effect, why our brains are wired this way, and how to break free from that exhausting cycle of self-consciousness. Because here's the thing, you're not alone in feeling this way. Everyone experiences it at some point. Yes, even that person who seems effortlessly cool. The difference is, some people have learned how to quiet that voice in their head, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to do the same. First, let's break down what the spotlight effect actually is. Coined by psychologists Thomas Gilovich and Kenneth Savitsky, it's the phenomenon where people believe they're being noticed and observed way more than they actually are. Think of it like an invisible spotlight shining on you 24/7. Except in reality, that spotlight is just a dim flashlight, and most people are too busy worrying about their own imaginary spotlights to notice yours. Studies back this up. In one experiment, participants wore embarrassing t-shirts into a room convinced everyone would focus on them. Guess what? Less than half the people even noticed the shirt. Our brains dramatically overestimate how much others care about our mistakes, quirks, or flaws. But why? Evolutionarily speaking, this might have helped our ancestors stay alert to social cues. Being overly aware of how the tribe perceived you could mean the difference between survival and exile. Fast forward to today, and that same hyper-awareness now makes us stress about things like bad hair days or awkward pauses in conversation. The problem isn't just that we think we're being judged, it's that we assume those judgments are harsh. We jump to conclusions like, they think I'm incompetent, or they're laughing at me, when in reality most people are neutral or even supportive. So, how do we escape this mental trap? Step 1, recognize the bias. Just knowing the spotlight effect exists helps you question those anxious thoughts. Step 2, shift the spotlight. Remind yourself that everyone else is just as wrapped up in their own lives. That person you're worried is judging you, they're probably replaying their own embarrassing moment from 3 years ago. Step 3, practice perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? A month? Most of the time the answer is no. And finally, step 4, embrace the good enough mentality. Perfect isn't the goal, authenticity is. The more you focus on being present instead of perfect, the quieter that spotlight becomes. Here's the best part. When you stop overthinking how others see you, you actually become more likable. People are drawn to confidence, not the I'm flawless kind, but the I'm comfortable being me kind. So the next time you walk into a room and feel that spotlight heat up, remember, it's not nearly as bright as you think, and chances are the only person judging you is you. Now let's talk about how this plays out in real life, because the spotlight effect doesn't just mess with our social lives. It sneaks into everything: job interviews, public speaking, even posting on social media. Ever hesitated to share a photo because you worried about how many likes you'd get? That's the spotlight effect whispering, everyone's judging this. But here's a reality check most people scroll past in seconds. They're not analyzing your caption or critiquing your angle. And if they are judging that hard, that says more about them than you. The same goes for mistakes. Say you're giving a presentation and mispronounce a word. Your face burns, your heart races, they all noticed. Except did they? Research shows that while you replay the error on loop, most listeners barely register it. And if they do, they move on instantly. We remember our own blunders because we're the stars of our own stories, but to everyone else we're just side characters in theirs. That's not a bad thing, it's freeing. It means you can stop holding yourself to impossible standards. So how do we rewire this mindset? Start small. Wear something bold and resist the urge to fix it. Speak up in a meeting without rehearsing your words 10 times. Post that photo. Each time you do, you'll collect evidence that the world doesn't end when you step out of the shadows. Over time, your brain learns, oh, nobody's booing me. Cool. And that's when the magic happens. You start living for yourself, not for the imaginary audience in your head. At the end of the day, the spotlight effect is just a trick of the mind. But the more you understand it, the more power you take back. So the next time you feel like everyone's watching, remember you're not on stage. You're just human like everyone else. And that's more than enough.